This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code GOLF SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. NFL playoffs are here, and make sure you tune into the Sports Gambling Podcast for all of your NFL picks and props. Okay, we are here. Sony Open. I am 10 minutes from the course, Waikiki Beach. It's beautiful out here. I know I look like I'm in a little legitimate dorm room right now, but I almost am. So, Dom, thank you for joining me. Thank you for dealing with my Hawaiian time zones. They are not ideal for content, but we gotta get the job done somehow.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so it's been a really fun week out here. Really fun week at the Century. Before we get into the bets, let's talk about the Century a little bit. I know neither of us bet Hideki last week. We didn't really talk about Hideki. We mentioned that he might have been going a little bit under the radar, not really talked about much, which is when you want to bet Hideki. He fires when you least expect it to. But what did you take away from the Century? There's probably not much to take away because it was just a bullshit pedal down, just ride the momentum, get hot event. But anything you took away from the Century? I know you were cheering for Hideki because you had him on your team in your season-long league. But
yeah, not too many takeaways. I mean, it was what we expected. I don't think I would have expected someone to get to 35. I mean, he was on a different level. So, I mean, a lot of guys got up there, but he had a pretty good lead for the majority of it. I mean, he kind of pulled away from Colin there, but I mean, some of his iron shots, we know that Hideki can get like that, but he was just on.
Yeah, I mean, Colin Morikawa. Did you bet Colin last week? I don't remember.
No.
So he was obviously a popular bet last week, and if you told the Colin bettors, yeah, you're gonna get to 32 under, they would have taken that and ran to the sports book and put all of their money on Colin last week.
Yeah,
and he wasn't even, and in the end, wasn't even close. Like he had lost by 3, and it was just an insane week from Hideki. I had some guys who also I had some guys around 28. Like you tell me they get to 28, I'm like, all right, I'll bet them. I'll take that. And it just Hideki rolled, but Century was so long ago. We have the Sony in less than 12 hours, or just about 12 hours from now, or 24 hours. I'm sorry. These time zones are just screwing with me. And because I know you guys got to wake up and wait a little bit. I'll be waking up and the golf will be starting. So we got the Century, the Sony. Let's talk about the odds board. Hideki Matsuyama, Corey Connors, Tom Kim, Russell Henley, Maverick McNeely, Keegan Bradley, Ben On. So let's talk with these top two, Hideki and Corey Connors. I assume you're not going to bet either of them, or are you going to take a look at any of them? What's your deal with this top two?
I don't plan on it, but I'm not going to lie. I thought Hideki might be a little shorter than 9-1.
I do agree with that. And if there's anyone to just keep the momentum going, it's Hideki. There's other guys that would do it too, but Hideki is just so in his own world. Who even knows if he knows he won last week? He just, I'm playing golf again. Let's just keep playing golf. I didn't see any of Hideki last week. I mean, yesterday at the course, I assume he was doing some media stuff or not even practicing, because why the fuck would you practice if you're Hideki Matsuyama? Right. You're already elite.
Yeah.
So Hideki, I did think it would be shorter than 9, but I don't. I mean, I know I'm not going to get there. Any Corey Connors love, or 14-1 Corey Connors is crazy to me.
14 is crazy. I mean,
yeah,
like I said, the Decky at 9-1 compared to Connors at 14. And my only thing on Decky, I don't think I'll get there from an outright perspective, but I think I could be convinced. I mean, I've only done placements right now, but there's a chance he goes full 2017 Justin Thomas and goes back-to-back Hawaii.
This field is real. Not. It's not like a strong field by any means. It's a decent field, but it's not like there's no studs up top. It is Hideki and everyone else.
It is. And I mean, that's his second win in the last 5 months now. And, sometimes a guy will – I get this is in Hawaii, so it's a different circumstance. But sometimes when someone wins a tournament, they'll withdraw from the next one. I mean, like I said, 2017 Justin Thomas, when he won the Century and stayed in Sony and won that. I mean, if you're in Hawaii, you're obviously just going to stay and play Sony. But with a guy that's as elite as Hideki, I mean, he truly is one of the elites, and we don't really talk about him as one of them. To stay in this field, I think 9-1's fair. I really do.
Yeah, and he really cares about these events because of like his Japanese heritage. It's like this is the closest event to Japan outside of the Zozo, obviously, and there's a ton of culture, Japanese culture in Hawaii. So Hideki wants it. Hideki is here to play. I think he'll play well this week. If I had to pick between the two, it would be Hideki. But let's go down the board a little bit. Talk about some other numbers, more bettable numbers. Tom Kim, we got a 2 in front of his name. Russ Henley, Maverick McNeely, Keegan Bradley, and Ben On. Those are the names with 2s in front of them. So who is your man from this range? If you had to pick one, are you going to any of these guys? Are you starting your card over here? What's the deal over here?
I probably would fade this range. If I had to pick one guy with the 2s in front of
Your
them.
boy Mav?
I know. I love him, but I feel like the number has gotten so short. And he showed a lot last week. Like that was a very impressive week out of him. And if he continues this, I mean, there's a chance we're talking about Matt McNeely as like a top 15, top 20 player on the PGA Tour. I mean, this is the Mav McNeely we've been waiting for. I'm just not sure I can get there at 2025. I mean,
yeah, for whatever reason, like his whole career, he was a golfer who had the worst numbers ever. Like he was always a 35-1 golfer in like somewhat strong fields, 50-1 golfer in strong fields, like for really no reason. And that's continuing. But I will say, Maverick, the stats are backing up the eye test that I'm seeing from Maverick. He looks so much more confident after he won at the RSM. And look at his approach numbers. He has not hit his irons that well, like basically ever in his career. He's always struggled in the approach department. And maybe that win freed him up. He's still got his brother on his back. He looks more confident. I really, really liked what I saw with Maverick McNeely both last week and this week. And that's showing in the odds, showing in the stats. I will say, like I said, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if I can get there at 25. That just seems a bit crazy for Maverick McNeely. If I had to pick one guy, bet one guy in this 20-1 range, I would think I would pick Ben On. I really do, because I do think the way this course is going to play is going to favor a bit more driving distance than normal. The fairways are running. The rough is by no means thick. I saw a narrative on Twitter that the rough was going to be fairly thick. It's not. It's really not. And I saw a lot of guys hitting drivers and not really scared of where the ball's ending up, because I talked to some caddies and I got some great feedback onto that being true. Fairways are running. We might have some rain today, but so I will monitor that. And the greens are soft. So bomb and gouge, as long as you're not behind a tree, which there is trees and there's places to miss. So with that being said, Ben On's a guy who mashes the driver. I think he obviously played well here before. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to bet him, but if I have to pick someone in this range, I'm going to go with Ben On.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, this whole clump of guys in the 20s, I feel like they're the clear next tier, but I don't know. It would almost, I mean, we say the Mav number's bad, but is it?
Yeah, I mean, compared to the field, it's not anything. I mean, if he could easily be, I mean, anyone could be up there, because after the top two guys, I guess it really drops off. I mean, if the top guy drops off. So yeah, I do agree with you. I assume you're starting your card down in this 30s range. So Siwoo, Bob Mack, Luke Clanton, Taylor Page with Sahith Theegala, Austin Eckroat, Kurt Kitayama, and JT Poston. Those are the guys with the 3 in front of their name. Anyone over here that you like, or multiple guys that you like?
I think I'm gonna do it again with Kurt Kitayama.
Kurt, dude, generational ball striking numbers from Kurt. If you look at his numbers, you might mistake it for Scotty Scheffler. Like, the dude is just striping the ball. Yeah, I like what I saw from Kurt too. I worry about the putter, but I like what I saw.
Yeah, always worried about the putter, obviously. I mean, you look back at the end of 2024 when we were talking about those kind of weaker field events. He had 2 straight top 10s to close out the year. Gained strokes pretty much across the board in both events. And then last year, his T24 at Sony was his best finish. And then I also noticed that, like, Kitayama at the Sony has improved his ball striking and his approach year after year. So if that trend continues and he is getting more comfortable here, then the number doesn't seem right. But I found a 40-1 with a top 6 each way. Definitely clicking the each way button on that.
I was I was debating Kurt yesterday. I was like, is this a good number or is this a bad number? And I think what you said kind of confirms that it's a decent number based on this field, because like when the dude's dialed, he's elite. Like he hits the ball to 3 feet, might not make the putt, but he'll hit it at 3 feet. And yeah, I like what I saw from Kurt, so I might have to back you there and join that Kurt train. I really do like Sahith Theegala just based on the number.
Yeah.
Sahith is a numbers play for me always. It doesn't matter what course, what form he's in. If the number is right, he was like 25-1 at the Century, and I was 35-1. And I know this golf course doesn't scream Sahith Theegala, but does TPC River Highlands scream Sahith Theegala? No. You play him when the number is right, and this number is right. I love that he could stick to that bomb and gouge strategy. It's a very good outright go get it strategy. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I'll take that 35-1 run for sure with Sahith. So talented, great birdie maker.
Yeah. No, I don't. That was another one that sometimes you just see a number and you just bet it because of the player. And that's kind of the scenario we're falling into here.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like any of us are going to Bob Mack, Luke Clanton, or Taylor Pendrith. But if you had to pick one of those guys or give a nugget on one of those guys, what would you say? What would you say?
I think it'd be Bob Mack.
Mack, he's striping it.
Yeah, this just seems like a type of event that he would excel in. I mean, the T15 at the Century wasn't the worst thing in the world. He had pretty good approach numbers. And then the last we saw him was like the 7th at the Hero World Challenge. I mean, he's top 15 in the world and not really priced accordingly, I wouldn't say. And I do think this is a good track for him. He won in Canada, which is fairly similar to what we're going to see. So I don't see why we wouldn't go Bob Mack.
Yeah, and it's not like we've seen him play. We've seen him play well in a shorter Bermuda track before. Like he played that Myrtle Beach, which is a weak field like this, and he almost won. So I don't hate that Bob Mack call. If I had to pick one of those three, it'd be Taylor Pendrith. I just think he's becoming so confident, and it's really showing in the results. So Taylor Pendrith is my guy, I would say, from that little range. But if I had to make one bet there, Sahith Theegala, 35-1. Let's go to the 40s, and then we'll open it up a little bit. Actually, there's only two guys on DraftKings that are 40-1. So that's Davis Thompson, Danny McCarthy, and then 50-1. Daniel Berger, Sepp Straka, Ben Griffin, Harry Hall, Cam Davis 55, Brian Harmon 55. Multiple guys in here you like. Anyone in here you like? What's your thoughts over here?
Honestly, I feel like there's a couple DFS shots in here, but from a betting perspective, I don't see myself getting to anyone in this range really until we get to the hundreds, I want to say.
Okay. Sepp Straka, 50-1, I definitely like. I think this is a much better golf course for Sepp than we saw last week. I posted a clip on Twitter about it. I bet him last week. He played decently. And this is a golf course that Sepp can win on, a shorter Bermuda track. That's when he does his best work. And then also Ben Griffin. Like, he does not fail you on positional Bermuda. That is what he does well. If he could drive it anywhere straight, he will play well this week. So we'll go to the 60s. We're going to go to the 100s. Before we do that, bear with me for a minute. I'm going to talk to you about DraftKings Sportsbook, the sportsbook that we are using right now. So playoffs, NFL playoffs are here. We're talking about the playoffs. You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you could score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the number one place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player prop. To score 6, go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. All of these picks that we're talking about are from DraftKings, so stay tuned. We're going to bring up some lines later. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. That's code SGP. For new customers, get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/RDO. And finally, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boots and gimme pick'ems. Underdog playoff best ball is now live. The Gauntlet tournament has $2 million in prizes up for grabs for just a $25 entry. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use special boost on all flex entries. So sign up with code GOLF SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code GOLF SGPN. Hefty ad reads, but that's why we do this. Hefty ad reads. All right. 60s, 100s. Let's open it up because this is where I think I'm going to be betting a majority of guys too. So let's talk. 60 to 1, we have Thomas Dietrich, a popular golfer. We have Mac Hughes, 60 to 1. I'm going to start at 65 to 1 with Tom Hoge. Okay. I loved what I saw from Hoge on the course, just a generational iron flusher, and he popped for a little bit. He was first round leader last week, and these are the golf courses that Hoge plays well. He should be confident, so I really like Hoge at 65 to 1.
Yeah, I don't see how you can. He came out of the gate pretty hot. I mean, he's been decent here. He's not too bad on Bermuda. 65 seems like a pretty fair number based off of what we saw last week.
So who do you like 60 and below, 50 and below? Who are you starting with down here? Or are you going all the way to 100?
Yeah.
Wow. Who's that?
So Mac Meisner is one guy that I had. I mean, just in his second year, 110 to 1. I'm looking at best career finish was a T4 at Colonial, still just 25 years old. A little inconsistent when it came to making cuts last year. He made just 16 out of 25, I think, but 10 of them were top 25. So he had some of the high end finishes. And like one thing about Meisner that I was shocked about, his season stats were pretty impressive. Like 26th in approach, 7th in total proximity, and he was 35th in strokes gained total on the entire PGA Tour. That one shocked me the most. Pretty good off the tee as well.
I bet him last year, and he's mixed before. He's a stud. He could play he can gain in all strokes like categories, which I like.
Right.
I'll go back down a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get there. I want to see what he said, what he looks like today. But Michael Thorbjornsen, just
yes.
Excuse me, sorry. Just an absolute stud of a golfer who fits that narrative of he can hit it far, he can make birdies with wedges, and he's done it in fastest before. Went on crazy birdie runs before. I want to see what I'm going to see from him today, but I'm definitely considering him. And Harris English, a guy who loves Hawaii, a guy who's had a great number, and a guy who looked so good out there yesterday, just flushing the ball, hitting at the flags. And we know when he heats up with the putter, he can win. So Harris, do something for me. Just make some putts. Bermuda's his best surface, so I don't mind Harris at 70 to 1.
I'll touch on Thorbjornsen for a second, just as like a season outlook. I don't think it's going to be too long before he wins on tour. I don't know when it's going to be. I mean, we're not going to have a ton of data on him, but it might be a guy where if he's sitting in the 70s, if he's sitting in the mid hundreds, that you just kind of sprinkle every week and wait for it, because we've seen the upside. We've seen the high end finishes. This will be the first year that he has full status on the PGA Tour. So I'm really excited to see what he does. I think he's a guy who's probably going to play 28 to 32 times. Yeah. I mean,
he's going to play a ton.
One of the best.
You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
So this makes no sense, and let's hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Luke Land 40 to 1, Michael Thorbjornsen 70 to 1, Nick Dunlap 90 to 1. Why? That makes no sense.
And only one of them is won.
Twice.
Yeah.
You don't win twice. And you're playing all the big events. You're like literally one of the better golfers on the PGA Tour. You're 90 to 1.
I saw that too, and I was like, why is he down here? I mean, he's like in the signature events. He's qualified for most of the majors. Like,
insane. I talked about this with Adam last night. Are we just dumb to not bet Dunlap at like around 100 to 1 in this field? He's won 2 Birdie Fest already.
Right.
And he's 21. He just turned 21 years old.
Yeah, 2 years younger than Thor.
The kid is a stud. I will say, I don't like the narrative around Dunlap right now. Apparently he's got a new girl, and it's taken some focus off of his game. Didn't really look great at Kapalua, but 90-1 on Nick Dunlap, like come on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can get a better number elsewhere, but 90-1 on DraftKings, might have to click that. Just if you bet Nick Dunlap in every start he's played, you're up a ton of money.
A
So
lot. Yep.
keep going. So
all right,
Dunlap, I don't mind it. Who else do you like?
Sam Stevens at 120. His
Striker.
top 40 is plus 163. Inside the top 50 in total strokes gained last year. He finished T14 at the Canadian, Bermuda putter, and then a guy who shockingly made 25 of 30 cuts last year, 10 top 25s, 4 top 10s. He was 24th here last year, and that came with shooting a 73 on Sunday. So I mean, he probably would have been right around that top 10 mix. So I don't think throwing a T40 or a top 40 on Sam Stevens is a bad idea. I could even climb the ladder and go up to a top 20 I'd feel comfortable with as well. Grillo,
I like Stevens.
Emiliano
Grillo,
Grillo.
it's a good number. It's a good number.
It's a good number.
Range, I like Spawn. There was not of like what 2 months ago, the dude was closing at 25-1 in some spots, and like the numbers are still decent. He just hasn't played in a while. It doesn't have the greatest course history, but this is a golf course that fits JJ Spawn's style of golf. At 100-1, yeah, I'm definitely in on a guy who's won before, and a guy who makes sense here, and a guy who's played decent over the last. Look, if you look at Spawn's approach numbers since March, they're a joke. So yeah like Spawn at 100-1, I'm not going to overthink that at all.
And 3 top 10s since the 3M.
Some of these numbers this week are just a bit absurd.
Yeah, and it's the first event of the year. We don't have a whole lot of like form stuff to go with, and a lot of guys. I mean, you're seeing some of the rookies for the first time, so you don't have any course history on some. So it is very weird. Jacob Bridgman,
your guy,
my guy, 200-1.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Another guy I could see winning here shortly on tour. It might be an alternate event, a weaker field, but I mean, he ended 2024 going 7 of 9 in cuts made with 5 top 20 finishes. Really good putter when it comes to Bermuda grass. Really good putter in general, and he's also showed that he can make birdies when needed. So another younger guy on tour. At 200-1, his top 40s 225. You can definitely do worse.
Yeah, I do like that Bridgman call, and we texted about him yesterday. So, Bridgman, I probably will join you. Let's do 1 or 2 more down here, then we'll run through our bets, matchups, and positionals. So, in this 100 or even further than 100 range, I really like what I saw from Taylor Moore. Taylor Moore is an absolute winner. And I mean, he's not an absolute winner, but he can get super hot, and he does his best freaking work on Bermuda courses. Look at his stats from short Bermuda courses. They are awesome. Taylor Moore looked very confident out there, and we haven't seen him really get in the mix a lot or recently, but when he does, like, I trust him to stay there and play well. So T Moore 120.
Ready for one of my top 40 bombs?
Yeah, let's do it.
Taylor Montgomery.
It's your guy. What is it, 4-1?
He's not my guy. I truly don't like him.
I don't like him either.
4-1. Obviously, one of, if not the best putter in the world, which obviously works into his favor. But I finished T13, T12, and his only 2 appearances here, shot 12 under both times. So the thing with Taylor Montgomery, he was granted 8 starts on a medical to earn 79 FedEx Cup points. So, I mean, if you're doing it all at once, 79 FedEx Cup points is like solo 4th, which I'm not assuming he gets solo 4th. But when you only have 8 starts to get 79 FedEx Cup points, the biggest thing is making the cut. A top 40, you would assume if you make the cut, you get into the top 40 or at least push your way there. I don't know. Do you know exactly what injury he had last year? I know he withdrew
I don't.
from 3 different events, but he got those 8 starts on the medical. So obviously going to take advantage of them. Might use all 8 right away. Who knows? But last year at Sony was actually his career best round when it comes to strokes gained approach. So Taylor Montgomery, top 40, plus 400.
Yeah, I like that. My top 40 is going to be someone we talked about yesterday that you put me on, and that the more I looked, the more I thought there's an 8-1 available on Peter Malnati, two-time PGA Tour winner, Peter Malnati, at a sports book for top 40. 8-1 for a golfer who played in some signature events. Didn't play great, but this man won last year on a shorter Bermuda golf course. This man won on a shorter Bermuda golf course twice in his career. Am I saying Peter Malnati is going to win? No. Am I saying he's going to make the cut and possibly finish inside the top 40? He just might. He just might. So if you can find that 8-1, I would strongly suggest it. So shout out Dom for bringing that to my attention, and we'll see. Peter Malnati.
There were a lot of 8-1s. We talked about Celinda as well. Another one I saw, who this guy I don't really think's in the same category, but rookie Mason Anderson is 8-1. So the thing, Anderson popped for me because he beat Ventura in a playoff at the Visa Argentina Open, which is a short par 70.
How could you forget? How could you forget?
I looked at another short par 70 from Corn Ferry last year. He finished T12 in Wichita, another short par 70. So
Sam Stevens played that event, I believe.
He did. He was second.
Yeah, because he's from Wichita, and I think he just took the week off to play a home game.
Yep, he did. I think he was right. Yeah, he was either second or third. So another Stevens bump. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of 8-1s on these top 40s of guys who, I mean, it's a lot of these Corn Ferry guys' first event. So maybe the books haven't adjusted or they don't really know what they're getting into. But there's definitely some value if you sprinkle. I mean, you could throw $10 on 3-4 of these guys. And
yeah, I think I'm going to throw a hefty one, like I said yesterday, and hopefully one of them comes through because I have a good feeling about it. All right, let's do a matchup. I'll start with a matchup. I like Ben Griffin minus 115 over Harry Hall. I know Harry Hall has been playing some good golf of late, but this is not a golf course that I really see Harry Hall showing his best stuff, and I didn't love what I saw from him yesterday. And Ben Griffin, the dude has just never failed us on short Bermuda course. He just has not. He always plays well on them, whether it's backdoor or whether it's getting in contention. So Ben Griffin minus 115 over Harry Hall in a matchup, tournament matchup.
I'll take Bob Mack minus 110 over Keegan Bradley. I just think, like I said, I know Keegan's Keegan. He can show up at any time, but I like the way that Bob Mack fits this course, and I'm willing to lay the minus 110 on him.
I like that too. Keegan's number, I feel like, is inflated right now. And there was a time yesterday when he took 3 tee balls off of 18, looked so uncomfortable off of the tee. And I feel like he has those demons from 18 last year. Just didn't like what I saw from Keegan out there this week. So, yeah, I like that matchup. All right, let's give 3 outrights each. Start at the top and then go down to whatever numbers we want. So you start us off. Who are you starting the card with outright perspective?
I think I'm going to end up doing a pretty small card, and I'm going to start with Hideki Matsuyama at 9-1. I'm just going to do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you'd feel stupid if Hideki just blitzed the field and you talked about it. So
I don't know. I mean, you've done a lot of shows with me. I rarely start at the top.
Yeah.
But I think the way this board falls, I'm just going to do it. Okay,
I'm going to start with, like I said, good number, Sahith Theegala, 35-1. He'll be one of the top guys I start the card with. Like I said, he's an all or nothing golfer. He'll give you that outright sweat, or he'll finish last, and that's what you want from an outright perspective. There's no Sahith could have been 14-1 in this field, and no one would have batted an eye. Literally, no one would have batted an eye. So Sahith 14. I'll do my second one real quick. Tom Hoge, 65-1, a flusher, a great golfer with his middle irons and wedgers. Hopefully, he can get hot with the putter, and he'll hit a ton of fairways. Tom Hoge, 65-1.
I'm going to back that up with Kurt Kitayama, 40-1 with the top 6 each way if you can get it. Closed out 2024 in really good form and has done better over the years at the Sony, so hopefully that trend continues. And going with Kitayama, 40-1.
All right, my final pick will be Rico Hoy, 120-1. Didn't talk about him, but he's a guy who will try and fit that bomb and gouge narrative. He hits it on an absolute string. And I really do think some of these long driving golfers will come to the top. There was a stat last year that 1, 2, and 4th and the leaderboard all were like 1, 2, and 3 in strokes gained off the tee, which is rare for Wildlife with a sway towards distance. The course is changing a little bit. Guys are realizing they could hit more drivers than they used to, and I got confirmation of that. So I'm going to go with Rico. The dude mashes it off the tee, and he can get hot with the putter time and time again. So Rico Horry with my final bet, 120-1.
All right, my last one is going to be Sam Stevens at 120. We talked about him playing well on the shorter par 70s, T24 here last year with 3 really impressive rounds to start the week, and then kind of fell off on Sunday. So I'm gonna go with Sam Stevens.
All right, that wraps it up. 3 outrights, some positionals, and a matchup. Dom, thank you for joining me. What do we have? Amex next week? I'm not really sure. I think it's Amex.
Yep.
And yeah, so we roll along. Hopefully, we ended the fall with a really good week. Actually, the fall was fucking amazing. Every single week we had sweats.
Yeah.
We almost won every single week. Last week was a dud, but that's gonna happen. You're not gonna win every single week. Hopefully, we have some winners this week. So, Dom, I will talk to you later today. Thank you for joining me as always, and good luck this week. Enjoy it. You know where to find us. Peace out.